everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Alex of Coyote Astrology, and this is my video for the full moon in Aries coming in on September 29th, 2023, which is a Friday here in California. However, please do adjust for your current location on the planet as that time and date may change for you. And it is actually the 23rd as I film this. And I am getting this out a bit early on purpose. I really want you guys to have this video and this information as this full moon comes in. It is a massive full moon, you guys. Oh my God, I can't remember a full moon in recent months that felt as important as this one. This full moon moves a lot of energy, and in many ways I feel that it's sounding the alarm for themes that will be representing themselves throughout all of October for our eclipse season. So on that note, before we get into this very important full moon, I am so excited to announce that I am doing a webinar on eclipse season October. I don't know if I've ever been so excited about a webinar. Clearly, Alex is excited. It's just a really fun time in astrology in the sense that there's a lot happening, a lot of energy moving, a lot of lessons being learned, and changes happening. So there's lots to talk about. And we are fast moving into our eclipse month. This webinar, we are going to unpack both eclipses. We have a new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. Obviously going to have some big relationship themes there. And then we have our big full moon in Taurus that is a lunar eclipse on October 28th. So I will be going into both eclipses during the webinar. I'm going to set you up with everything you would want to know. We're going to talk about eclipses from an evolutionary astrology perspective, and people really love this about my webinars. I'm going to set you up with all the key dates for October so you can plug them into your calendars and follow along throughout the month. I'm talking dates even outside of the eclipses. I'm going to set you up with your October calendar for important transits. So this will be a live webinar at 6:30 on October 5th. If you are interested in reserving your spot in the webinar, give me an email at coyotestarastrology@gmail.com and do me a favor and just put the word in all caps eclipse in the subject heading so I can kind of sort you guys out of my other emails, and we will get you all set up. All right, let's get into this full moon. Can you guys feel this one coming? I do. It's hot. There is some much needed fire coming in on the horizon with this one, and it's warming and getting moving things that have been kind of like stagnant and annoyingly in a process for a while. So for that reason, I like this full moon because it's kind of like, okay, wake up, let's have these conversations, let's move this. There is definitely a conclusory element to this full moon because it involves both Venus, who is finishing the last degrees of her post-shadow, and it also involves Mercury, which is finishing up the final degree of its retrograde post-shadow. So we've got two retrogrades finishing as a part of this. So that, yeah, I mean, it translates to getting to the bottom of things, trying to figure things out that have been kind of unclear. And I think that if there was ever a time to have it proven to you that post-shadow matters just as much as the retrograde, this full moon and the week prior to it is going to show a lot of people that. And I'm so glad because like this week I was out and about. I went to a couple social gatherings and, you know, people are really going through it and they come up to me to tell me about it. And I was like listening to a lot of people talking about relationships. And I would say, you know, oh yeah, Venus retrograde. And they would look at me like, well, I thought that was done. And I have to keep telling people, and I've been reminding people on my Instagram as well, like, no, we're not done. Venus is finishing her post shadow. And this one is particularly important because look at this. So here's the full moon in Aries, September 29th. Here's Venus at 22. She's going to finish post shadow at 28. So she's in her final degrees, but look at Uranus, 22. During this full moon in Aries, that is an exact square between Venus and Uranus. That is a jolt, you guys. That is like, hello, turning the lights on, seeing things we need to see, awakening to truths and perspectives that we really need, and might have been waiting in the wings throughout the Venus retrograde. But as we've said a million times, Uranus is here to surprise you. I had this brilliant client last week that described Uranus energy as like a little jack in the box that surprises you, and that's perfect. Uranus energy does that. And with Uranus squaring Venus, the week leading up to the full moon and during, there's a part of me that wants to kind of say there's no telling what could happen because I don't think that I'm off base there. There really isn't. This can be where you do have a revelation that you didn't see coming at all, for better or for worse, of course. It can be where you have perspective that shows you something and completely shifts how you feel. The square, I won't lie, does represent something a little unsavory about it, or something that like we would rather not see, because a square is, of course, a tense aspect. But all this to say, this is a week where we can have unexpected financial realizations, unexpected project realizations, and of course, relationships. So this week, knowing that we're in those Uranian energies around all things Venusian, I think it's really good to stay open and receptive, knowing that Uranus will bring in information that will sort of crack open what we thought we knew about a situation to show us how something maybe really is. Okay, let's get into the more juicy part of this full moon in Aries. I'll come back to Venus. So full moon in Aries, we have our ruler is, of course, Mars. Mars is at 21 Libra on the South Node. So the fact that Mars is on the South Node and the fact that Mars is the ruler of this full moon tells us something right away. First of all, it tells us that this is a full moon where something really needs to be changed, evolved out of, or released, because the South Node represents old karma, old baggage, old news that we need to transcend and evolve out of into the North Node. So then we look at, well, what's the sign involved? What's the planet involved? Well, it's in Libra. So this tells us that there is something old, outdated, stagnant, unhealthy, or something that needs growth around relationships. And once again, I know I say this all the time, so excuse the repeat, but people really do need to know this. Libra does not just mean romantic relationships. So this is just interactions that we're having with other people. And it's in Libra. So we're looking at the shadow of Libra, or the less mature side of Libra that needs evolution. This has to do with where in the past we've been willing to compromise, sacrifice, be diplomatic, see another point of view, people please, acquiesce, let someone else have their say. That's all the past Libra things that we would have done, that we would have allowed. We are changing this full moon. We are changing due to experience, and we are changing due to a newfound sense of self. We have all been on a long, arduous journey through Leo over the last few months, while Venus has done her dramatic little traipse through the fire sign associated with the lion. She has found herself. She is direct now. She's still going through some changes, but what she's realizing has a lot to do with where and how we seek validation. Leo rules the solar plexus chakra. This is our will, our courage, our ability to stand really strong and upright, courageously in who we are, and express ourselves in this world. A retrograde in Leo can invert that process and show us where we are not those things, where we have lost our will or been seeking will and validation and love from external sources when we really need to be able to supply that inner fire for ourselves. So, who better to teach us how to do that than Aries? The first fire sign of the zodiac associated with potentially the most vitality and energy, because it's like the spark. It's the first spark of light. It's here, it exists, it's ready to go. It hasn't been worn down by the journey yet. Aries is fresh. It's the baby and it's just ready to crash through the gate, right? So we're combining this newfound sense of self-love with Leo, or one that is at least in the process of unfolding, with the energy of the fire ram, Aries, where we are coming into really what we need and coming back home to who we really are. Aries is very self-preserving and self-defensive. Aries will go to battle for itself. It doesn't let other people step all over it, drain their energy, drain their time, interrupt them, take too much from them. Aries really preserves their energy. Unfortunately, the shadow of Libra can be where we leak energy to other people, where we drain ourselves for other people. So this full moon in Aries is a massive reclamation of our energy, a returning of some of that vitality. And let me tell you, we're going to need that this eclipse season, because eclipse season happens at this nodal axis. We're going to see a lot of this kind of stuff playing itself out. But this full moon should illuminate places where you will not compromise anymore. It should illuminate a sense of sort of like self-dignity, I want to say. And outside of our inner dealings and weavings with others, and by the way, this will likely show up in your life in multiple places. It's not probably just going to happen for you at dinner with your partner. It's going to be reflecting itself through friends, your landlord, your whatever. That's how this stuff works. So you can be a little detective and you can be looking around at, where is the South Node in Libra? Where have I been afraid to have an uncomfortable conversation? Where's the Aries North Node? Where am I setting a boundary, being clear and being unapologetically truthful about where I'm at? Where am I fighting for myself? So outside of relationships, this full moon also may have to do with a shift in direction, because, hey, Mars is our direction. Mars in this case is at the South Node. So we're coming here. I do want to say there is a lot of healing in this full moon. I don't want to get on this full moon like it's this fucking disaster and people are going to be fighting and all this stuff. Honestly, it doesn't have that energy around it. There may be some intense conversations, but this isn't like a really explosive Aries full moon, to be honest. It's a firm one, and within it run the channels of, I would almost say, like well-balanced fire, or fire that is returning. Okay, yes, so Mars is the ruler. Because Mars is back here, some may have this full moon illuminate a place where, you know what, they actually do need to redirect, whether that be with a project or plans of travel or whatever, because what they truly want for themselves is actually turning out to be something different. So let's look at the tarot, shall we? I decided to use a different deck, you guys, because I don't know. I didn't feel like the artwork of my normal deck really displayed what was going on too well. So I picked out my Crow Tarot, and I'll link this in the description box. I love this deck. Every card has these adorable little crows on it, and I'm obsessed. Okay, so our card associated with the moon in the first decan of Aries is the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is actually a Mars-ruled card. So this is an action-oriented card, and it has to do with Mars attributes, our desire, our drive, making decisions, potentially taking some risks. It does denote some progress, and it's a card about setting goals, making plans that sparked from the Ace of Wands. So we have the idea in the Ace of Wands. Now we're in the Two of Wands, and we want to turn it into a plan. Now, the opposing card is the first decan of Libra, which is the Two of Swords. Now, this card is the opposite. It's more about a stalemate, or feeling like this little crow is here, like blindfolded and unsure of which direction to go. You can see he has his little feet. One is on one sword, one is on the other, and he's blindfolded. He has no idea what the fuck is going on. And so this is like an inner world of like, oh, I don't know, a battle between sides, trying to choose, feeling indecisive, hoping that it goes one way. And the blindfold is like, yeah, not knowing which way to believe or which side to favor. So the Two of Wands, the action card, is heavily uplit this full moon, which basically translates to we're going to feel like making a plan or taking some kind of new action around something that we might have indecision around or not know the answer to, but that Aries energy really wants to swoop in and be like, okay, you know what? We're going to start moving, and here's the reasons why, here are the boundaries, here are the parameters, and this is my stance. So as I was saying, I don't think that this full moon is massively combative. In fact, when we consider that Chiron is at the North Node, you can see that there is a lot of healing here, but we can't compromise anymore. That's really the energy of this. And as I said, we're going to be seeing this pan out into eclipse season as well. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and a share. I really appreciate it. I am scheduling readings at the moment. In fact, I think I have 1 or 2 slots available. I think it's the second half of eclipse season. So I'm putting my information up there on the screen, and you can reach out to me if you're interested in scheduling one of those. Have a beautiful week leading up to this full moon. I'm definitely starting to feel it, and you will start to feel it over the next couple of days. All right, guys, bye for now.